Hey, what's going on? It's been a while since I've done one of these. Hope you're all doing well in this very interesting world today. Just out here on my evening run, and I wanted to talk about something that has been on my mind lately. You know, this YouTube channel has over 200,000 subscribers at this point, 220,000. I'm in a totally different place today than where I was a few years ago only. And looking back, it's honestly crazy to look back. It's crazy to me, just my journey, what it has been in the past few years. You know, I get thousands of emails. My company gets thousands of emails. You know, we help people start successful online businesses, e-commerce. I never expected what would have happened just this year alone with, I'm not going to say it because then YouTube's going to do something against my channel, but you know, the whole situation with the pandemic, I guess I can say that. It's completely changed everything for us, for this YouTube channel. I mean, just the sheer amount of people that have been watching my videos, like up 50%. The sheer amount of people that have been interested in getting into e-commerce has increased significantly. And 3 years ago when I first started, I mean, back then, if you're new to my channel, just a little bit of my story, I was cleaning windows, working at the bank. I absolutely hated my bank job. I was only 21. I was naive enough to think that that was a sound path for life, but very quickly I realized that it wasn't. 3 years ago, when I was sitting at my bank job, I was sitting at my cubicle, you know, coming in every single morning, swiping my card, paying for parking. Every single morning I was thinking about the same thing. How do I avoid pursuing the life of mediocrity? How do I avoid doing the same thing that everybody else is doing? And how do I strike out on a different path? And I started to do my research. It actually all started when I went on YouTube one time and I typed in how to make money online. Interestingly enough, that is exactly, you know, when you type in how to make money online today, one of my channel actually pops up there, which is absolutely incredible to me still to this day. Again, it's so crazy how much your life can change when you take the first step, when you pursue a life of self-improvement, and when you realize that the days will add up, 1 year will pass, 2 years will pass, and you'll start to see how fast time goes. And so I realized that time was ticking, and I knew that if I didn't start at that time today, if I didn't do something, if I didn't start, what I wanted to do was I wanted to just travel and make money. That was my first initial kind of want. That's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to make, even if I made $2,000 a month in passive income, and at the time, passive income sounded so crazy. It sounded so unrealistic to me. It sounded like, just like, you know, back then when I was first starting out with entrepreneurship, you basically had to start a startup. You had to come up with some kind of new idea like Uber, Airbnb. You had to really come up with some billion-dollar world-changing idea. At least that was what was taught in schools back in college and university before all these opportunities came with online business, with e-commerce. That was what I thought I had to do at the time. And so I remember at the time I was reading all these books. I was reading, what was I reading? I read The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. That was one of them that was popular a few years ago. I also read, at the time, there were these books like The Lean Startup, The $100 Startup, all these books about startups. So I kept reading these books. And I remember at a certain point, probably a year passed, and I was still doing the same thing, you know, going to university, working that job at the bank. And I was wondering, okay, I've spent a year kind of trying to get into entrepreneurship. I've spent a year trying to start something, but I still have zero ideas. I still don't know what exactly I should do to actually start making money. All these books, they just preached, you know, the whole startup thing. There was some talk about digital nomadism at the time, which is, it's interesting how that's evolved, you know, with everybody kind of wanting to live the Bali lifestyle. But that was how it was. That was the state of things a few years ago. And when I typed in how to make money online on YouTube and on Google, at the time, there was a little bit about e-commerce, but at first I saw things about affiliate marketing. Basically, most of it was just nonsense. It was just all a bunch of BS. It wasn't any real long-term kind of business, you know? I didn't give up. I still believed in myself. I still knew that there had to be there had to be a way, right? There had to be a way. I knew that there were people out there who were living their dreams. They were traveling the world. They refused to live the same way as everybody else. And I knew and I believed. And that was the biggest thing, honestly, just believing that it was possible, even though my parents are immigrants. They came from a completely different country. I'm Canadian. I'm very proud and happy to be Canadian because of just this country is such an incredible country. Like, everybody has equal opportunity, and the amount of doors that it's opened just for me and for all the people here who have come and risked everything is crazy. Just a side note, if you're from Canada, if you're from the United States, you've won what's called the genetic lottery, and maybe not the genetic if your parents did what my parents did, and they risked everything to come to Canada or the US. These are the best countries these are the easiest places to start something from, and you should be very grateful. It should be a push for you, if anything. A lot of people take it for granted. Now, at the same time, if you're not from the US or Canada or Europe is also a decent place. It's harder to start from there, but that's a whole conversation for another video. But if you're from Africa, from Asia, the biggest thing on your side is belief. The biggest thing on your side is faith. You know how many people I've seen their lives transformed from Africa, from Asia, through online business, through the opportunities that became available today. While millions of businesses are dying, I'm seeing people just reaching such amazing success with e-commerce, with online business, with all these things that these new opportunities that have popped up, in 2020 now. So it doesn't matter where you're from, you can succeed. That's what you should always understand. It's not going to be easy. It will take time. It will take much less time than you think, but you can succeed. So anyway, going back to that time when I was first just starting online business, I was just getting into entrepreneurship. It's crazy how fast time flies, honestly. But yeah, so I tried a bunch of things. I tried social media marketing. I tried all the ways to make money that were kind of online at the time. And by chance, I guess it was inevitable if I look back in hindsight, but I fell upon e-commerce, and specifically Amazon FBA. That was my first successful online business, what became my successful online business. At the time, I was very afraid. I wasn't really super afraid because I had nothing to lose. I understand it's easier for me. At the time I was 20, 21 years old, no kids, just working at the bank, still in university. And I realized at the time, that was the best time to start. No matter what, that was the best time, and time was ticking and I had to do it. Same thing, by the way, for you right now. And so I started my what became my first successful online business. I did a few things before that. Like I said, they weren't too successful, but I started selling on Amazon. And when I found out about selling on Amazon, what struck me was how possible it was, right? I was seeing guys, girls just like my age, a bit older, achieving amazing success, and seeing an example of somebody else who was, maybe in some way similar to me, who didn't really have any experience with online business, didn't have any experience at all with entrepreneurship, just wanted to become an entrepreneur, had the desire, but didn't really know what exact steps to take. Seeing that was enough for me to understand, this is it. Now's the time to start. So I took the plunge. I started watching YouTube videos about Amazon FBA nonstop, about e-commerce. I was so hooked, and it's everybody goes through this when you get super excited, because suddenly, after a lifetime of society and people telling you that you can't do something, when somebody tells you that you can do something and you find an opportunity that really looks and sounds worthwhile, it's like the best thing in the world. And so started watching YouTube nonstop. I was so excited. And I took every single course that I could find. There weren't that many back then, and most of them, they weren't so great. Although I do appreciate the fact that they still existed, because I didn't use that as an excuse. I was like, you know what, there's not that much about this out there. I could have said, this is too difficult, it sounds too hard, so I'm not going to do it. But I didn't use that as an excuse, and I'm very, very thankful for that. A lot of people, they give up too easily. Most people give up before 3 attempts, right? So that's what I did. And what ended up happening was launched my first product on Amazon. If you're not familiar with Amazon, basically anybody in the world can sell on Amazon. Most sellers on Amazon that you see, products that are sold via Amazon Prime, they're actually sold by third-party sellers. So people like you and me, just starting a business from their laptop. You can't actually start Amazon FBA without seeing any product whatsoever. It's not like you have to sit in your garage and pack all that. Basically, give yourself an extra full-time job just packing like you used to have to do with eBay back in the day, although I was too young to even know about that. But yeah, so launched my first product, failed, learned. Launched my second product, so-so, still learned. And then I launched my third product. And at that time, what I was doing was I had already quit my bank job because I was reading all these books. One of the books that I read was Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And I'm sure you're familiar with that book. If not, you should definitely pick it up on my top 10 books to read to succeed for sure. And Napoleon Hill in that book said, burn your bridges. It was actually against the advice of everything that I had heard in my life at the time, against the advice of my parents, against the advice of society. And at the time, I really hated my bank job. I just really wanted to, stick it to my boss because he was literally monitoring the amount of time I spent in the bathroom. It was like a typical, answering the phones job at the bank, helping customers out, investments, all that kind of stuff, both in English and in French. Sitting at the computer in my own little cubicle with my last name on it. Supposedly supposed to be proud of that, but yeah. And so what happened was I read that book. I read Think and Grow Rich. It said, burn your bridges. And I thought to myself, burn your bridges. Well, what do I really want out of life? Do I want to rise up the corporate ladder? Do I want to live the same life as everybody else, only to end up in an unhappy marriage, in a house with a giant mortgage on it, living in some neighborhood that I hate just because I have a job, that's close to it, or that I commute from? Most people commute nowadays, which is absolutely terrible. I don't know how you can do it. Imagine the amount of time that you waste just commuting to work back and forth. It's like 20 years, I think, in a lifetime people spend just commuting, just driving in snowstorms, in nasty weather. It's crazy. And so I walked into my boss's office and I gave him the finger. I said, I quit. And this was, there was reason enough for me to do that. I'm not recommending you do that. But, it felt like the right thing to do. And so instead, I started cleaning windows because I had watched some YouTube videos. There was a dude on YouTube who was talking about how to clean windows and make money. And so I decided to do it. I started it. And I thought to myself, at least I'm taking the first step towards entrepreneurship. And this way I'll still have an income for my Amazon products. I knew that I wasn't going to clean windows for the rest of my life. Although everybody around me was asking me at the time, are you really going to clean windows for the rest of your life? Like, that's it, And obviously I knew that I wasn't. But it was just people now going back and looking at it. People were just broadcasting their insecurities on me. They were just broadcasting their own, most people, they're negative automatically because they've already given up on their dreams. So they try to push everyone else down. It's life. You'll learn this. Every day, every morning, I woke up excited to go clean windows, even though I knew it was temporary, right? Not the proudest job to have, right? I was excited to clean windows. I was making a lot of money cleaning windows, actually. I was making like $500 a day because, I was selling each house for like $100, $150 a house, right? I mean, that there was a shift in my mind. I realized I had this limiting belief, like, you need prior experience to do something. And then I told myself, no, Dan, you just pick up a squeegee, you watch some YouTube videos and do it. All the information's out there. If you're willing to work, if you're willing to make something happen in your life, just get up and go. Just get up and go, right? And so I did. Went from zero to 32K at the time in sales per month with my Amazon product. And I was on top of the world. It was extremely life-changing. And that was really my first big success. And making that much money at 50% margin, it's like 16K in profit per month. I was making more than my parents. I was making more than everybody on my whole street, I think. And the adventure that started for me, I kept expanding my Amazon business, started to learn more about e-commerce, started to really specialize. Friends and family were asking me about the whole thing. And so I decided to start a YouTube channel because I always knew that I wanted to help people and talk about this because there was not much information about it online. Online business at the time was very much like obscure. It was very much like, oh, making money online is a scam. If people think that way now, it's like, hey, it's not 2015 anymore. It's not 2006 anymore. Like, wake up. And so I kept going and I kept going. And ever since that day, I never stopped going. Made my first million shortly after, within the next 8 months. Grew my YouTube to over 100K, hit 100K. I think it was a year and a half later in that was last year. So it was about it took a year and a half, 2 years, hit 100K subscribers on YouTube now, 225. Success is exponential. It's exponential. But the hardest step to take is that first step. The hardest step to take is when you are lost, you have no idea what to do, You know that you deserve the good life. You know that, like, why would you not be able to make $1 million a year, for example? Why would you not be able to at least have a successful online business? Like, what separates other people from you? What separates success from you, right? These were the questions at the time. And everything my mind was telling me was nothing. It's just belief, the knowledge, and the hard work, right? And the knowledge, belief, I solved that. I always believed in myself. Some people struggle with that. You really have to believe deep down at your core. Watching these kinds of video helps a lot, these kinds of videos, because you see examples, people like me, like just normal guys, like, coming from nothing, from a middle-class family, an immigrant family in Canada, and making it big. Right now, as we speak, the world is undergoing one of the greatest, as cliche as it sounds, one of the greatest transformations of wealth. I mean, look at the sheer amount of businesses that have gone bankrupt just in the past few months, right? The sheer amount of businesses closing down in this crisis. And which businesses are the ones that are flourishing? Which businesses are the ones that are winning? Amazon stock just hit like $3,000 a few days ago. $3,000 a stock. When I started selling on Amazon, I think it was like $1,100, I think it was. Might be getting that wrong, but definitely below $1,500. Shopify stock just hit like $1,300. It's crazy. It's just an online store builder. The entire world has gone online. I didn't think that the shift to online business, the shift to basically online business and e-commerce becoming mainstream was going to come this quick, but it definitely did. And you know who wins during crises? You know who wins during these great transformations? Those people that decide enough is enough. I'm putting my foot forward and I'm starting to run. I'm starting to run for my future, for my family's future, and I'm starting to run towards the life that I've always wanted to live. And then, most people, they never even achieve they never get to that. But right now you have the chance. You have the chance. The earlier you do it, the better. Thankfully, I did it at 21. If you're struggling right now, if you've been sitting at home, stuck, just wondering, what do I do? What step do I take? Where do I go? Is this even possible for me? Is it too late? People were, at the time when I was starting in 2016, 2017, people still were saying, nah, it's too late to start e-commerce. It's too competitive. You should have started in 2012. Imagine, can you believe that? How ridiculous does that sound right now? It's always that way. Success is nothing but a mindset. That's all it is. Learn the mindset, adopt the mindset, internalize the mindset, and practice every day. Learn every day. Right now, really think about how you want your life to look in a year. Really think about it. The things that I've done since I experienced my first success several years ago, I've gone to the most amazing places in the world. I've seen the most amazing things that I could never even dream of seeing. I am just a happy person, honestly. And why am I happy? Because I get to wake up in the morning to no alarm clock and do whatever the fuck I want to do every single day. And that is really the key. That is the key. It's freedom. It's what we all want, right? It's what we all want. But to get freedom, to achieve freedom, you have to take that first step. You have to understand you are worthy. You are worthy of a bright future. You are worthy of freedom. So take the first step. Enough is enough. Take the first step. Don't look back. And ask yourself, if not today, then when? I want to end this off with a famous quote. It's a very famous one. It's a very good one. It'll make you really think. I worked my entire life for a menial's hire, only to learn dismayed that any wage that I would have asked of life would have willingly paid. Really think about that one. I hope this one finds you well. I'll see you in the next one. I'm going to be doing a lot more of these, just like I used to before. I've just been super busy. There's before I had no money, but I had a ton of time. And now I have, the money problem, the money part is solved, very much so, but I have no time. But it's great because I'm grateful for the opportunities. I'm grateful for, the fact that I get to wake up and do this every single day, help people around the world start successful online businesses, follow in my footsteps, and achieve what they thought was impossible for them when it was always possible. A person's mind can be their own worst enemy or can be their own best friend. You choose. Thank you.